Hey everyone, hope you're doing well. I'm Said and welcome back to my channel. Today we're gonna talk about one of the most powerful tools in calculus, the chain rule. But of course, we've already talked about the chain rule before and solved plenty of examples. But in this video, I wanna show you another form of this rule, one that is extremely useful for different types of problems. Okay? You use this rule when you need to find the derivative of a composite function, basically a function inside another function. Looking at our formula, dy dx is equal dy du times du dx. It tells us that to find how y changes with respect to x, we first find how y changes with respect to an intermediate variable u and then multiply it by how u changes with respect to x. Think of it like a chain rule. Let's solve a few examples. For example, we are given two equations. Y is equal the square root of u squared plus u and u is equal x squared minus 3x. Our goal is to find the derivative of y with respect to x at the specific point where x is 2. Okay guys, in this example, since u is a function of x and y is a function of u, we need to use chain rule in this form. Dy dx is equal dy du times du dx. Let's look at u. U is equal x squared minus 3x. So the derivative of u with respect to x is equal 2x minus 3. So at our point x is 2, this value becomes 2 times 2 minus 3 is equal 1. So the value of du dx is 1. And as you know, the derivative of the square root of f is equal f prime over 2 times the square root of f. Okay, so the derivative of y with respect to u is equal f prime, means the derivative of u squared plus u is 2u plus 1 over 2 the square root of u squared plus u. So what is the value of u when x is 2? So let's plug x is 2 into our u equation. So we have u is equal 2 squared is 4 minus 3 times 2 is equal 6 is negative 2. So u is negative 2. So we have dy du is equal dy du is equal 2 times negative 2 plus 1 over 2 times the square root of negative 2 squared is 4 plus u means minus 2. So we have minus 3 over 2 the square root of 2. So the value of dy du is equal negative 3 over 2 square root of 2. Finally, dy dx is equal dy du times du dx. And as you know, du dx is 1 and dy du is equal negative 3 over 2 the square root of 2. So final answer is negative 3 over 2 the square root of 2. It's very simple. Number 2, u is equal the square root of x squared plus 9 and v is equal 3x squared minus 2x. So we want to find du dv. And again, in this example, u is a function of x and v is a function of x. So du dv is equal, we can say du dx over dv dx. So du dx is equal the derivative of x squared plus 9 is equal to x over 2 times the square root of x squared plus 9 over dv dx is equal the derivative of 3x squared is 6x minus 2. So we have 2 and 2 cancels, and we have final answer is x over the square root of x squared plus 9 times 6x minus 2. Or we can use the chain rule in this form. du dv is equal du dx times dx dv. So du dx means the derivative of u with respect to x. So u is equal the square root of x squared plus 9. So du dx is equal to x over the square root of x squared plus 9 times 2. The derivative of the square root of f is equal f prime is equal 2x over 2 the square root of f. Okay, so 2 and 2 cancel, so we have du dx is equal x over the square root of x squared plus 9. Look at this equation. Since v is a function of x, so we can find dv dx. Okay, so we have v is equal 3x squared minus 2x minus 2x. So dv dx is equal 6x minus 2. But we need to find dx dv. So dx dv is the reciprocal of dv dx is equal 1 over 6x minus 2. So finally answer du dv is equal du dx is equal x over the square root of x squared plus 9 times dx dv. dx dv is equal 1 over 6x minus 2. Number 3, y is equal sine of x cubed. We're gonna find dy dx. In this case, the outer function is the sine function, and in the inner function is x cubed. So let the inner part be u is equal x cubed, and our main function becomes sine of u. So the derivative of u with respect to x is equal 3x squared, and the derivative of y with respect to u is equal cosine of u. So we can say the derivative of y with respect to x is equal the derivative of y with respect to u times the derivative of u with respect to x. So the derivative of y with respect to u is equal cosine of u times the derivative of u with respect to x is 3x squared. Now we put the x cubed back in place of u. So we have cosine of x cubed times 3x squared. That's it.